me? Why is this? Why am I feeling this way?
Mm-hmm.
Resentment usually comes from being taken advantage of or not feeling appreciated. It's often a sign that we're pushing ourselves either beyond our own limits because we feel guilty and we want to be a good daughter or a good wife or a good mother, or someone else is imposing their expectations, views, or values on us. Now, this is very important because we had an incident, with my kids and your kids not having their things together when they go somewhere, either with your kids, not having their proper things when they come, or my kids not having their things. That requires us to go back and do it.
Right.
And no matter how many times you tell people not to do these things, they're still doing it. Well, guess what? You don't get it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not going to pack your bags properly and have your things, then you don't get to have it. And if your kids weren't packing their own things, then they're going to have to do without it for the weekend. Because if we don't start setting responsibility, we're the ones that are running all over the place doing this stuff.
Right. Right. So then the next one is to be direct. With some people, maintaining healthy boundaries doesn't require direct, clear-cut dialogue. Usually this is in the case of people that are similar in their communication styles, views, personalities, and general approach to life as you are. They'll approach each other, similarly.
Yes.
It's not a big deal. Now, with others, such as those who have different personalities or cultural backgrounds, you may need to be more direct with the boundaries. Consider the following. One person feels that it's okay to challenge someone's opinion and that that's a healthy thing and a healthy way of communication, but the other person feels it's disrespectful and it creates a lot of tension.
I agree. I don't enjoy being challenged. If I'm sharing an opinion, not even so much an opinion, but if I'm setting a boundary and someone's challenging me about it, my question is to them, what is your discomfort? You know what I mean? But being that we are becoming bigger in culture, I can see that. Yeah.
Right, but you got to remember, with me, I'm kind of one that if you have something to bring to the table, feel free to throw it in. But if you're going to challenge me for the sake of challenging my response, I've had run-ins with people like that. It's like, what? Okay, so what do you propose? Well, I don't know. I'm just challenging you to think outside the box. It's like, you're challenging me to be a mind reader right now, and unless I see green cross my palm, I don't do the swami thing, okay? You're going to have to pay for that service. You ain't getting a free reading off of me. I'm sorry. No, just a joke. Every now and then I do give free readings. But there are other times you might need
That's a boundary issue.
That is. You want a free reading, huh?
Okay, so before you give our business away, let's continue.
There are other times you might need to be more direct, and sometimes, for instance, in a romantic relationship, time can become a boundary issue.
Sure can.
Partners might need to talk about how much time they need to maintain their sense of self, and then how much time they need to spend together as a couple.
Absolutely. Number 4 is give yourself permission. Fear, guilt, and self-doubt are big potential pitfalls. Dr. Gianta says, we might fear the other person's response if we set and enforce our boundaries. And this is so common. Often we make up this big, huge story in our head, this whole playback thing of what's going to happen, when really 99% of the time the other person is going to say, oh, I didn't realize you felt that way.
Gee.
But we've made this cataclysmic, what kind of thinking was it that we learned last night in the stress cataclysmic thinking?
Cataclysmic thinking.
That's what it was.
Bingo. You were paying attention in class.
I was. Many believe that they should be able to cope with the situation or say yes because they are a good daughter or son, even though they feel drained or taken advantage of. I have a couple friends right now who take care of their parents, and my mother actually took care of both of her parents before they died. And being a daughter, you don't want to upset your parents. They're sick, and you feel that you have to take what they say.
Right.
Just because it's your parent and they live with you, or you're taking care of them in some reason, and it stirs up guilt. Boundaries aren't just a sign of a healthy relationship. They're a sign of self-respect. So give yourself the permission to set boundaries and work to preserve them. It's not that you're doing something wrong. It's respecting yourself. And if you don't respect yourself, like my dad said, if you sleep with every guy you meet, they're not going to have any respect for you.
Right.
So if you're going to treat yourself badly, no one's going to respect you either.
I always heard it as if you don't respect yourself, others won't respect you. But
my dad was a little more.
He was a little more direct. He was a military man and a carpenter as well.
Yes.
So yeah. So Here's another one. Practice self-awareness. Again, boundaries are all about honing in and on those feelings and honoring them.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice yourself slipping and not sustaining your boundaries, she suggests asking yourself, what changed? Consider, what am I doing, or what is the other person doing? And what is the situation eliciting that makes me resentful or stressed? Then mull over your options. What am I going to do about this situation, and what do I have control over?
That's a big question. What do I have control over? What can I control today and what I can't? And control is another boundary. We feel that we have to control situations around us.
Sure.
If we're getting in that controlling mood, that may be a sign that we need to pull back because not everything is in our control. Number 6, consider your past and present. How were you raised along with your role in a family can become additional obstacles in setting and preserving your boundaries. And what that means is every child has a different role in the family. You may be the troublemaker, you may be the quiet one, you may be the withdrawn one, the one that everyone turns to do things. So if you were the role of the caretaker, you learn to focus on others, letting yourself be drained. And by ignoring your own needs, that might have become the norm for you. Also, think about the people you surround yourself with. Are these relations reciprocal? If you're going out to eat, are you always paying for the bill? If they're coming, what's happening here? Is it an equal give and take? Beyond relationships, your environment may be unhealthy too. For instance, if your workday is 8 hours a day, but your coworkers are working at least 10 to 11, there's that implication that you have to do the same thing. And the doctor also recommends working with others to try to maintain boundaries, seeing if turning into the feelings of others and honoring them becomes critical.
Yeah, that working the 8-hour to 10-hour day, I've been there, definitely. So how about number 7, make self-care a priority, which involves giving yourself permission to put yourself first. When you do this, our needs and motivations to set boundaries become stronger. She said self-care also means recognizing the importance of your feelings and honoring them. These feelings serve as important cues about our well-being and about what makes us happy and what makes us unhappy. Putting yourself first also gives you the energy, peace of mind, and positive outlook to be more present for others and to be there for them. And when you're in a better place, you can become a better wife, mother, husband, coworker, or friend.
And you're a very good wife.
Yeah, and you're a good husband. Okay.
It is so important to put yourself first, and because you do get a better energy when you're worn down, drained, and angry. You don't have anything good left to give anybody.
You're no good for anybody.
There's no heroes here. There's no saints, and there's no award given at the end of this journey that you did and gave the most. And so many people come from that perspective of, I have to do this, or it's a thought process that they get themselves stuck in that we can help launch you from. So number 9, being assertive. Of course, we know it's not enough to create boundaries. We have to actually follow through. We can talk about stuff and we can get the big idea, but until we follow through, it's not going to work.
You skipped over 8. Seek support.
Oh. I'm sorry. Okay, we'll go back to that. Since they don't, it's important to assertively communicate with the other person where they've crossed a boundary. In a respectful way, let the other person know why it was bothersome to you and what can you do to work together to address it. This is yours I just read. I'm sorry.
I said you skipped over it.
Okay, so this does not necessarily mean a confrontation, as people confuse confrontation with arguing or yelling. This is about having a discussion.
Right. So, number 8, just to mess with everybody. If you're having a hard time with boundaries, seek some support. Whether the support group is church, some counseling, coaching, or good friends. With friends and family, you can even make it a priority with each other to practice setting boundaries together and hold each other accountable.
Exactly. That works really well in family situations, especially if there's a couple of you that aren't getting along with one in particular. And it's a good thing sometimes to check with others. Am I off to feel this way? Why is this person, acting like this? Am I the only one that feels this way? And chances are, if you're feeling a particular way, there's someone in the group that's doing so as well. Okay, so number 10. Like with any new skill, assertively communicating your boundaries takes practice, Dr. Gianta suggests, and starting with a small boundary that isn't threatening to you, and then incrementally increasing it to more challenging boundaries. Build upon your success, and first not to try on something that feels so overwhelming. Setting boundaries takes courage, practice, and support. And remember, it's a skill you can master. In coaching, we can sit down with you and we help you lay out a time wheel of all these areas in your life that you're having trouble.
Right.
And then we can begin to address these one by one. And usually one of the most internal factors is setting a boundary of some type, whether it be time, place, or a person.
Mm-hmm.
So we are running just a little bit. We're running just a little bit quick here. I did have Natalie. Natalie is still going to be coming on. Natalie, if you're still listening, we are running just a little bit behind here. So hang tight. We're going to go through the stress management portion.
So how boundary setting helps with stress management. Setting healthy boundaries in your personal relationships is an important part of stress management for several reasons. The first is maintaining balance. For one thing, when you don't set boundaries on what you'll say yes or no to, we tend to take on more responsibility than we're comfortable with, just to please others. That was me. This can be stressed, and trying to navigate the busy lifestyle we are, it can be too much, and it will be way too much for your comfort level. So setting healthy boundaries helps us to maintain the right balance of our schedules and in our lives.
Okay, so next is keeping conflict minimal. Additionally, when we say yes to things that would be better addressed with a no, we tend to feel resentful after a while. Some of us may not realize that we have a hand in our overly busy schedule, while others may be mad at ourselves for letting it happen.
If we feel resentful or frustrated by a situation we face, or direct those feelings towards the people who are pushing the boundaries, we can end up feeling alienated or even hurting those people that we're trying to be nice to, or even damage a relationship we're intending to strengthen.
Yeah, that's what
happens. So it's very important.
And it bears mentioning that a common misperception about personal boundaries is that keeping everyone in our lives at arm's length is the same thing as having a strong, healthy limit. And I would do that. Instead of, I got so over the top after I, started to heal, I would keep everybody out because anyone I met I was going to be hurt. If I met someone, they were going to hurt me. And I had to learn to bring these people back in again.
So the bottom line is that setting healthy boundaries in relationships is a key skill for relationship stress management. It is a kindness we can do for ourselves as well as for those we're close to. If boundary setting isn't something that you're already comfortable with, there's plenty you can do to develop a comfortable skill level with this.
Absolutely. Okay, so you're going to take us into break?
We're going into a break. And we'll be right back with Natalie McGovern to talk about her personal experiences with boundary issues. Remember, if you would like to call in and maybe ask a question, tell your story, or have your name named of your business, have you mentioned on the show, our call-in number is 480-409-0773. You're listening to Heart to Heart with the Hansons.
Beautiful, but it's so dangerous.